After maxing in the most difficult game mode Oldschool has to offer, I set out to achieve the best gear and push my account to the absolute limits. This is my endgame Ultimate Iron Man. In the previous episode, we geared up for some raids, we received some dupes, but most importantly, we got ourselves the last mega rare from Chambers, the Elder Maul, and that brings us up to now. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Chads here. We're going to be continuing on with the Chambers grind for a bit. I mentioned this in the previous video, but I need to get the Ancestral Robe Bottoms. The Robe Bottoms are the last item that I need from Chambers. I have everything else. Having full Ancestral would be great, since obviously it's a best in slot, but more importantly, it helps free up space in my bag and gets my Ancestral hat out of the POH prison. Good luck. And since we are doing the Chambers grind, I decided I should probably try and knock out some more combat achievements, so here I scouted myself a quick raid, and I will be trying to get the solo speed tasks. And here they are on screen. You gotta get under 21 minutes and under 17 minutes, so let's see if we can knock them out. And that is the Solo Speed Chaser at 1857. If I did want to get the Grandmaster task, I would still have to shave off another minute and 57 seconds. Dang, I actually managed to add a minute onto my time. Now, I'm about to show you one of the best passive moneymakers in this game. That's right, it's just being friends with other ultimates. Occasionally, they will drop you some goodies, but only if you're nice to them. And another one of my clanmates dropped me a bunch of purple sweets, so huge shout out to both you guys. Thank you. Alright, I am finally logging back in after a little bit of a break. We stacked up 50 easy clues, so yeah, we are just going to jump right into it. Ooh, new collection, green elegant skirt. Oh? Ooh. Bronze, kite shield, gold. Let's fucking go. Hold on, I gotta find that somewhere on the floor. Oh, wizard robe top. Ooh, what is that? Oh, black helmet, H5. Okay, new collection with the red elegant shirt. Oh, hold on, I might need that. Okay, last one. Oh, damn. It's kind of expensive. Nice, okay. So, that wasn't a collection log, but we didn't have that, so... Nice, now we do. We got... what was that, 5 new collections? Hell yeah. And with sailing just around the corner, I wanted to make sure that I have enough space. So I will be spending a decent chunk of time using the loot that I received from Chambers. Chambers typically rewards a lot more loot than any other boss, and that is because it's really the only boss that you can do while deathbanked. So I'm able to bag almost everything that I get as a reward. But now the trade-off is, now that I've gotten all the rewards, I have to take all the time to use them all up, so this could take a little bit. Okay, so I used up a bunch of my herbs, and now I want to move on to making some super combats. I usually don't do herb runs that much anymore, so it's nice to have all the irids and cadentines made into potions so that I can restock my super combats. Anyway, I had to death bank for this because you need a completely empty inventory. Alright, and now that we're at the Grand Exchange, the fun can begin. This is one of the more challenging potions to make on an ultimate. I'll briefly run through it, but I have more of an explanation in a different video. Essentially, I filled up 2 farming sacks, and I'm using these to manipulate how many items I am unnoding at a time. You need one of each super attack, defense, and strength, and also a torsal. So that's 4 different items, and we can only squeeze 5 of each into the inventory at a time. That is why it is required to have an empty inventory when doing super combat. Alright, so we're going to be moving on to some Temperos. So they've got all these sailing stuff in game right now as like a little pre-trial thing, and one of the crewmates here at the very end, I know it is level 90 sailing, but requires 100 Temperos, and I've only got 44, so yeah, we're going to stay here till 100 just in the mass worlds. I don't really care about the XP. Don't really care about any of the drops either. Already got the pet, so yeah, I'm just gonna try and get in and out as quick as I can. And that is the big 100 kill count at Temperos completed. Yeah, so I tried to put in as little effort as possible in a lot of these rounds. I didn't get a ton of points, but we did manage to stack up just over 200 points. However, I am going to be holding on to these until sailing releases. You can receive noted regular planks and oak planks, which might come in handy, but as for right now, I don't need these taking up any inventory space. And another thing I wanted to prep before sailing is the log basket. I didn't even realize that this was a storable item in the house. It didn't take that much time or effort to get. All I did was hop to the forestry world for an hour or two, and it was pretty easy. There we go. Storable in the magic wardrobe. It's kind of cool too because you can actually store logs inside of it while it's in the house. So in theory, I could chop some logs, fill up the basket, and return to it later when I actually need to use the logs. It holds up to 28 logs, so I'm hoping this will come in handy for sailing. Alright, and back to some bag cleaning. We're going to be using up the last of our renards, so this shouldn't take too long. Really no point to this, already maxed, but yeah, it's kind of fun to see what we're gonna get. And it's construction. Okay. At this point, I didn't want to commit to anything big, so I hopped in for some learner chambers with the clan, and we were rewarded with nothing. Okay, so I've been saving this gold ore and sapphire so I could quickly charge up my Ring of Suffering. I want to try and drop this item, but I still need it for some combat tasks like Zulra. It might come in handy also with the God Wars tasks, so after I end up doing those, it will likely be dropped. Okay, got a little over 5,000 charges. I think that's plenty for what I'm going to be doing. So I will be dropping the rest of this sapphire and gold ore over. I also want to get rid of these sweets. Yeah, I'm going to be dropping the Lantadimes too. So at this point, sailing is coming out in just a few days, and I don't really want to commit to anything right now, so I'm probably just going to be doing some random piddly stuff here and there. Alright, I took it upon myself to get a little bit of prep for sailing done. I mostly just got some noted bars, nails, and I have some teak planks left over from chambers. I have been seeing a ton of people posting about their hoard of items that they're prepping for sailing. I really think that a lot of it is unnecessary. There likely will be a component of building supplies needed, but it looks like some people think that sailing is just construction too. Especially since us ultimates have limited space, I really don't feel that compelled to prep many items. Okay, it is the night before sailing, so just as a precaution, I'm going to be putting my max cape away because I don't know if I'm going to be able to deposit it. In the past with the quest cape, if you have it out and you haven't completed all the quests, then it doesn't allow you to store it, so I'm just going to be safe and put this bad boy away. Hopefully you're not gone for long, but I'm going to have to be using the construction cape for a while, so yeah, this is it. Huh? After losing my max cape, I embarked on a new journey across the sea, in search of new quests, exotic islands, unique treasures, but most importantly, my max cape. This is my endgame Ultimate Iron Man.
Set sail!
Okay, it is the first time logging on with sailing release, so There we go, 2278. We are no longer maxed. So let's see if we can go do this new quest. I believe it's called Pandemonium? Oh my god, there's someone sailing around. Okay, we need to go south. Click in the direction you wish to travel. Okay. Holy shit, there's so many people out doing this. Well, pricks. And now is going to be a good time for me to take my rewards from Temperos. I'm going to be needing some noted planks very soon, so yeah, just going to open those up. Okay, and here's everything that we got. Got a handful of planks. Probably just going to be dropping everything else, though. Dang, and just like that, the first level that we have earned in almost a year since maxing. Alright, and that is the Pandemonium quest completed. So this NPC is located in the cave on the Pandemonium, and he's kind of like the charting guy. Charting Charles McAtlas. Yeah, he gives you the introduction on how to chart things. Charting itself doesn't really give you that much XP, kind of just gives you a little bit, but it does give you bonuses for when you complete like an entire sea or an entire region. But most notably, after you complete all of the charting possible, you can fill up your keg with the Horizons Lure, which gives you a 2.5% bonus XP boost. This is kind of like the scaling outfits for everything else, but instead it's sailing. Wow, 70 XP, that's it? Yeah, so I know this is day one, but these port tasks don't really seem like they're that good of an option. But it's what everyone else is doing, because I don't think anyone else really knows what to do, so we're just going to keep doing these until we have enough sailing for the next quest. Okay, so this is going to be an awkward jump. Everything after that last clip somehow got corrupted when I was recording. It was basically 3 hours of charting, questing, and eventually getting a salvage hook. I'm very disappointed that over half of my day one recordings are just gone. But anyway, that is why we're at the place we're at now. And another thing I also didn't show was the salvaging that I did on mobile. The XP wasn't great, but I did get a few levels for barely any effort. Anyway, we did have quite a bit of level jump, and now we are high enough to do the Barracuda Trials. These are essentially the Holland Poker, but for sailing. It's sort of like a racetrack, and you're timed while doing it. The trials are supposed to be high effort, but also the highest XP in the game. So let's give it a shot. And we're off. Okay, so these rapids here, the little circles moving, those are supposed to be like little speed boosts. So I think if you time those correctly, you can speed up your run a little bit. But yeah, basically we just need to go in a big lap and grab these little crates, and at the end there's a guy that throws us a jug of rum, and we just need to make sure that we have that rum when we return back to the start. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I forgot the rum somehow. Okay, second try and we got it. That's a fat chunk of XP. 43 sailing, Stormy Key. Don't know what that does. But yeah, now we can go ahead and try the shark rank. So each of the Barracuda trials are composed of 3 different courses: the Swordfish, Shark, and Marlin. Each of these correspond to the length of the course, Swordfish being the shortest, and Marlin being the longest. The first time each of these are completed, they will award you with a one-time bonus chunk of XP, as well as the standard XP for completing the course. Additionally, each tier has their own rewards as well. The Swordfish grants a key that can be used to open a chest with cosmetic clothing. The Shark rank will reward you with a new material that is needed for building a facility on your ship. And finally, the Marlin will reward you with the largest chunk of XP and a cloth that can be used to put a cosmetic flag on your boat, saying that you're the fastest boat this side of the Moose Point. Anyway, the main attraction here is the Shark rank reward, as it will give us the ability to build the keg on our ship. I briefly mentioned the keg before, but when they are filled up with a specific drink, they will give a passive bonus while you're sailing. And really, the only practical one to use right now is the Whirlpool Surprise. Luckily, you can just buy it straight up from the bartender in the Pandemonium, but that will give you a temporary boost of 3 when you drink it, and when it's in a keg, it gives you an invisible +2 to your sailing. Hey, I did it. Second try. Okay, I am kind of far off the Marlin time, so I think that I'll just come back and complete that another day when my boat's a little bit faster. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but your boat upgrades, like the hull and the mast, will actually make your ship sail faster. Yeah, for this Barracuda trial, specifically the Temper Tantrum, you need to have upgraded the boat's mast to oak and the helm to iron or better. Alright, and that is the keg built on my ship. I'm gonna go check out the blast furnace because I need a few more bars. UIM pro tip. So the blast furnace is kind of OP for ultimates. Whenever you need a ship part built up to mithril, you can just buy the materials here. Even bars beyond mithril like adamant and rune can still be smelted here. You can just leave them in the dispenser so that you can come back later when you actually need to use them. Thank you for listening to this UIM pro tip. And one more pro tip, you can get a mahogany log spawn right next to the sawmill operator. If you just need a few, it's pretty easy to hop worlds and grab more, as opposed to going and chopping them yourself.
Another one.
Okay, and one more tip, when you're gathering the lead for lead bars, just bring superheat with you to save a trip back to the furnace. You don't need any coal for these, just 2 pieces of lead. Alright, and that is my mithril hook upgraded. Yeah, that's going to help us out with some AFK salvaging later when I don't really feel like grinding XP. Alright, so we are back at the Barracuda Trials. I wanted to get myself set up for some AFK later, and to do so, I need to get myself a salvaging station. Mostly because us UIMs don't have the luxury of using a cargo hold. Our cargo hold are severely nerfed compared to everyone else. So, up until this point with salvaging, I've just been dropping everything. In order to get the salvaging station, I need to visit Chinchampa Island, way on the other side of the map. Not only is it a long distance, but I'm terrified of whatever monsters are in the water as well. So instead of sailing all the way over there, I'm just going to get my level to 46 so that the shipwright in Aldrin can recover my boat for me, and it will be a much shorter and safer distance to travel instead. Okay, and before we can travel to Chinchampa Island, we're going to have to get this key so that we can unlock the chest there. There we go, and the shipwright's going to recover our boat for us, and we can get to sailing. And on our way to Chinchampa Island, we're going to be making periodic pit stops to do these charting locations. Figured I might as well knock out the charting early as opposed to later because the XP is going to be way more beneficial early on. And since we're on the topic of charting, I wanted to showcase this little map that the wiki has. It shows all of the charting locations in the game, and so long as you have the Wikisync plugin, you can sync up your account with here and it'll check them off as you go. Okay, so here is Chinchampa Island. Let's hop off, and I believe this chest up here is what's going to give us the schematic. Alright, and there we have the salvaging station schematic. Let's go build this bad boy.
Throwing flashbang. What the fuck?
And there we go, we got our salvaging station, so I am going to set myself up for some salvaging, and that is going to be the night. Oh yeah, one more thought, I really think that these ports, or even the customization station, should have some sort of NPC that you can pay just to heal your boat up, instead of me having to go and just buy all these repair kits. Alright, it is the next day, and we got a few levels from some mobile salvaging. While at work, don't tell my boss. Anyway, we got ourselves up to 51 sailing, and I'm actually going to be going to Hespori because there are a few upgrades I want to make to the ship, and unfortunately, some of the upgrades require up to 25 spaces of inventory. I kind of wish that you could turn in the pieces individually because the only solution right now is rebagging every time you need to build something big on your ship. And we are back at the blast furnace. We're going to be making some mithril keel parts so that we can upgrade our skiff. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention while salvaging, I did manage to get some hemp seeds. It's medical, I swear. Alright, and that is the mithril keel upgraded. Oh yeah, and whenever you go to spin your hemp or cotton or flax or whatever it may be, in Prif, right by the house portal, there's actually a spinning wheel and a loom, so you can just knock them both out together. Alright, bottoms up, let's make this. It's very convenient to have the bartender in the Pandemonium sell you the +3 boost for sailing, so you can just get that whenever you want. I also wanted to mention that when you're building new things on your boat, if it's part of the core boat, like the mast or the hull, you can boost and that's fine, but If it's a specific facility like a hook or something and you boost for it, you're going to need to boost for it every time to continue using it. Okay, and now we're going to be taking on the Troubled Tortugan's quest. So this only requires 45 sailing. I overshot that a little bit, but yeah, I should get a decent chunk of XP from completing this, and I believe that unlocks us a new type of log at the end. I also wanted to just point out that these riddles that the mermaids give us are basically impossible to figure out. That or I'm just really stupid, but thankfully the wiki actually has all the answers. So I guess the Tortugan people need me to repair their little market area because some pesky griffins have been terrorizing their community, and I really should have brought some staminas with me because of all the running back and forth I'm doing. And now we get to track down the aforementioned pesky griffin. Gee, I wonder which direction it went. But why doesn't this give us hunter XP if we're tracking? We found him, so here's a little guy that's been causing all the ruckus around town. Or so we thought. Oh no, the little pearl is under attack, and the griffin's going to destroy the hatching area? Whatever shall we do? Ooh, spooky foreshadowing. Maybe there's going to be another quest after this. But in all seriousness, this boss is a lot stronger than it appears. If you're an ultimate, I would definitely recommend not death banking while doing this quest, just because the final boss can really catch you off guard. It has a whirlwind special attack that, if not dodged correctly, can deal damage in the 60s, and has another attack that will knock the player back, dealing up to 30. Sailing hasn't even been out that long, and I've already seen a handful of other ultimates lose hundreds of hours of progress just because they got complacent and chose to do sailing with an active death bank. Other than salvaging, you don't really need that much inventory space, and even if you are salvaging, if you can't manage to free up at least like 16 spaces, then you probably have too much stuff to begin with. While it is unlikely that you will die during sailing, all it takes is one easy mistake and all those items are just down the drain. Anyway, that is the Troubled Tortugan quest completed, and that is going to bring us up to 52 sailing. Now I'm going to be spending a little bit of time just charting this area. Like I said before, it's more beneficial for us to get this out of the way earlier when the XP will help us out the most. Okay, so I did a bit of charting and found a few drinks along the way, and as usual, I saved them all up so that I could just use them at a port in case anything funny is going to happen. See? Easy peasy, and since I'm at a port, I can just disembark, and I don't even have to deal with this guy. Okay, much easier. And we absolutely smoked that Marlin time, simply just by upgrading our skiff a little bit and making it a faster boat. And so we went back to doing some more charting. We saw a handful of interesting new locations. But most importantly, we learned that the current duck is way too slow. It was one of those things where it was kind of novel the first time you saw it, and afterwards is sort of just a drag. So now we're going to chill for the night and hit up a nice double salvaging spot near the Temper Tantrum Barracuda trial. I had a ton of fun trying out the new sailing skill. It's such a huge update, and I'm glad that we can finally experience something new like this in Old School. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, or what you think about the sailing skill in general. If you made it this far into the video, then show me some support by liking and hitting that subscribe button. I'm super excited to continue our sailing journey, so make sure to keep following. Anyway, that is going to be everything. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.